listening to PetLifeRadio.com.
Is your pet stressed out? Does your pet need annual vaccines? Which pet is best for a child? Would you know if your dog was in pain? Pet Life Radio presents The Pet Doctor, where you'll learn everything about keeping your pet healthy and happy. From pet care, pet meds and grooming, to pet food, pet insurance and dental care, this is the place to find out everything there is to know about pet wellness. Whether you have a dog, cat, reptile, or rabbit, you'll find answers for your pets straight from the vets. It's your pet. Health matters. The doctor is in, and we'll see you now.
Welcome to the Pet Doctor on Pet Life Radio. I'm Dr. Diane Levitan, co-host of the Pet Doctor. I'm really excited today to introduce you to a great service that your veterinarian can offer you. It's a better type of online pharmacy that works with your vet. Now, I'm calling from the road today. I'm driving that huge RV, and if you don't know what I'm talking about, check me out on helping-paw.org for the mystery. Have a good laugh. Anyway, our guests today are from VetCentric Pharmacy. Mr. Ted Root, President and CEO, and Dr. Elizabeth DeLamba, the Executive Director of Professional Services. Mr. Root joined VetCentric as President and Chief Executive Officer in October of 2008, so not so long ago. He manages all aspects of the company's strategic daily operations, and he brings the VetCentric community over 20 years of leadership in fast-growth, technology-based companies. Dr. DeLamba joined VetCentric in 2000, back when it started, and after practicing in small animal clinics in Pennsylvania for more than 10 years, at VetCentric she oversees the professional services and the staff of veterinarians and pharmacists, and has served as manager of prescription processing and senior staff veterinarian. I've worked with her so often. She's amazing. Anytime I've ever had any issues, she's always there, and she's so knowledgeable. She also is a veterinary consultant to the marketing group and is responsible for product evaluation for the VetCentric catalog, which you'll learn more about in a few moments. Dr. DeLamba received her Doctor of Veterinary Medicine from Michigan State University, and she has a Master's of Business Administration, which is great when you're a veterinarian, believe me, from Villanova, and a BA from Smith College. Boy, she's really wonderful. Well, this valuable information will keep you listening, I know it. So please stay tuned to find out all about the best online pharmacy that works with your vet, one you know you can really trust. We'll be right back to learn about how you can benefit from VetCentric Pharmacy right after these messages.
Please have a seat in the waiting room. The doctor will be with you shortly, right after these messages.
It's time for school for you and your friends, your furry best friends. Train your dog the fun and easy way with Teacher's Pet Sessions. Teacher's Pet host Pia Silvani teaches you step-by-step how to train your dog the fun and easy way. You get 8 30-minute live audio training sessions, complete transcripts of each session, plus a basic training manual to get you and your dog off to a great start. Training begins the moment you bring your dog home. Teacher's Pet Sessions offers positive reinforcement training to shape your dog's behavior and encourages upbeat, enthusiastic responses to ensure that your dog will enjoy learning. Teacher's Pet Sessions dog training is fun at both ends of the leash. So listen, learn, and laugh with your dog with Teacher's Pet Sessions. Get your copy of Teacher's Pet Sessions Volume 1 today. To order, go to teacherspetsessions.com.
Hi, this is Pia Silvani, your host. Bring your dog, tug toy, and treats, and get ready to have some fun.
teacherspetsessions.com.
Having a rough day? Longing for the dog days of summer? Think your fun furry friend lives a dog's life? Well, find out everything you're begging to know as Pet Life Radio presents It's a Doggy Dog World with pet expert and award-winning author Liz Palaika. Every dog has his day, and you'll find out how to make your dog's day fun and rewarding. Every week, on demand, only on PetLifeRadio.com. Let's Talk Pets on PetLifeRadio.com. Welcome back to the Pet Doctor on Pet Life Radio with Dr. Bernadine Cruz. The doctor is in, and we'll see you now.
Welcome back to the Pet Doctor on Pet Life Radio. With us now are Mr. Ted Root, President and CEO, and Elizabeth DeLomba, Veterinarian and Executive Director of Professional Services for VetCentric. Thank you so much for joining us today.
It's a pleasure to be here, Diane.
And Diane, thanks for that great introduction.
Oh, of course. You guys have been really great. I'm excited to share all this information about VetCentric pharmacies to our listeners. You know, we don't usually have one specific company that we tout, but I think that this service is so unique and so important for people to know about that it really is very valuable. So tell us and our listeners, what exactly is VetCentric?
Well, at VetCentric, we provide pharmacy services for veterinarians worldwide. We supply all federally regulated pharmacy products as well as compounded medicines to pet owners using their veterinarians as the initial point of contact.
So that's very unique. That's different than most online pharmacies, isn't it?
Right. The biggest thing that makes us different is that we actually work with the vets, which is great because what happens is that a veterinarian will send one of their clients to us. We'll fill that script. We'll update the clinic as to what their clients used, and that allows the doctor to keep an updated record of what medications the pets are getting.
Well, that's really important, too, because I know a lot of people, they don't pick up their medications or you don't know if they're following up with it. So to get feedback from the pharmacy is huge.
Right, and the feedback from the pharmacy also helps us keep pets what we call in compliance with their medications. We've seen that on average that the typical pet is able to stay on their medication twice as long on regular dosing as they would if they were just using a regular over-the-counter service, simply because we work with the vets to remind pet owners when they need to refill that prescription. We work with pet owners also to remind them what their monthly doses are and when they need to refill something. So
that's so great. So it sounds like the major difference is that not only do you communicate with the pet owners on a regular basis, but you're also giving feedback to the veterinarians, which is invaluable for me as a veterinarian. One other thing I want to mention is that for me right now, when you go on helping-paw.org and see the crazy stuff I'm doing these days, I'm actually doing traveling as a veterinarian, and I don't have a pharmacy on my RV. So it's great for me that I use VetCentric now, and my clients, I can mail them anything, just by going to the web, putting in what prescription I want them to have. They can go then to the web and pay for it and have it sent directly to their home. I mean, it's perfect for someone like me, and I love it. I remember using VetCentric in its very, very early days after doing home. Now VetCentric's been around for over 9 years?
That's correct. We've been in business for over 9 years. As a matter of fact, in the last 18 months, we've worked with over 7,000 clinics across the country.
That's
and
phenomenal.
Last year, we've filled about 300,000 individual pet orders and have served over 1 million people over the last 9 years.
And so that's a lot of pet owners, a lot of pets, and I know you ship all over the country. And I know one of the things that I like the most is I remember that it's very difficult sometimes to get prescription dog foods. And one of the greatest things was that, I was worried that shipping dog food would be too expensive, but VetCentric makes it very reasonable to ship around the country.
Yeah, there's a couple things that are important about shipping with dog food is quite often a lot of our clients, it's very inconvenient for them to go to a store, to go to a doctor's office, especially to get the hard-to-access prescription foods. And so instead of going over to their vet every 2 or 3 weeks or once a month to get that food, our shipping policies and our shipping products allow the convenience of home delivery. You save a lot of time, and you never have to worry about whether it's going to be there or not because we have auto refill systems that allow for any shipment, whether it's food or pharmaceuticals, to be delivered to your house exactly when you need them.
It's so convenient. Let me ask you something. I think it would be really helpful for anyone who is listening right now, if they're at their computers, to bring up VetCentric on their browser so they can take a look at what we're talking about. And then maybe, Mr. Root, you could talk us through what it looks like when you log on to VetCentric and how really simple it is to use it. The website is www.vetcentric.com.
That's correct. The most important thing when you log on is that you'll see that there are places for the vet to link to and the pet owner to link to. It's important to remember that with VetCentric, we only work with veterinarians that are part of our system. So when you log on, you simply type in to determine whether or not your vet in their office is part of our network. If they are, you'll be immediately taken to what's really their pharmacy on our site, and you'll be able to interact with all the recommendations that your veterinarian has placed in essentially a medicine cabinet for you and your pets. If it turns out that your vet is not part of our network, simply call us at 1-866-VetCentric, and we'll contact your vet and talk to them about what our services are and let them know that they have a client that's interested in the convenience of home delivery and especially a service that works with them to keep them in this loop.
What I wanted to ask you is if your veterinarian has not already put a prescription in for you, is there a way to request something from your veterinarian?
Absolutely. You can request any medicine through VetCentric. There's two ways that we will fill that script. If the physician has put it into our system and authorized your purchase of that item, we'll be happy to fill it right then on the phone or online. But if there's something else that you would like, we will make a note of what you're requesting and contact your veterinarian for you. And once we get approval from the vet, we'll go ahead and ship that back out to you.
One of the things I really like the most, I think, is the quality control. I know as a veterinarian, when I call in a prescription, it makes me very happy to know that it's recorded and repeated back to me. So I know that everything I have requested is exactly what I have asked for and that there can't, very unlikely to be any mistakes. And that helps really build the trust for me as a veterinarian using the service. And I really love that quality control.
Yeah, I think that's one of the things that VetCentric does extremely well because we have veterinarians on staff and because we have pharmacists that are accustomed to working with veterinary products, because that is really our focus. It makes it a lot easier for us to catch any types of mistakes, any dosing errors, that type of thing that comes across. And our goal is to make sure that everything that gets into the pet owner's hands is exactly what the veterinarian has prescribed for them. And so we do have, if a prescription is called in, we have a veterinarian or a pharmacist review each and every prescription that's called in. And veterinarians also have the ability to put prescriptions online directly into the pharmacy, so the pharmacist will check it there too. Once it gets into the pharmacy, there's a second quality check before it even gets put into the envelope to be mailed out to the customer.
Which is great too, because vets make mistakes. And I know that I've even made a mistake before, and VetCentric has called me and said, "Are you sure this is the dose that you're looking for? This is not a typical dosage that we would that we would use." They certainly weren't insulting, but they were right, and I'm so appreciative to have that double check. Somebody very knowledgeable is double checking me, and I think that is the very best thing for our patients. So I'm delighted that that really is exemplary. I don't know of any other, even a regular pharmacy doesn't call the doctor when it looks funny, for our people. So I'm just delighted about that. Let me just make sure everyone knows how to spell VetCentric, because it always messes me up. It's VetCentric.com, right?
That's correct.
Okay, so hopefully people can sort of log on to VetCentric while we're talking and take a look at what we're talking about. And if their veterinarians aren't using VetCentric now, maybe they want to let them know. So we've talked a lot about how it benefits pet owners, but how is it different from the other more commonly used or commonly known pet online pharmacies?
Again, Diane, the first big difference for us is that we work directly with vets. We're the only online pharmacy that does that. The second thing is because we're in constant communication with the vet, we do drive home that compliance, that convenience for the pet owner, and we allow the pet owner and the veterinarian to maintain control of the most important relationship that we think oversees animal health care, and that's the relationship between the veterinarian, the client, and the pet. It's at the heart of what we do. We only work with veterinarians that are part of our system, and that avoids a lot of confusion in the marketplace. And it goes and reinforces to pet owners that we are trusted by the vets. The veterinarians do not have the same level of trust and confidence in other home delivery services that are not working with them to supply product.
That's a really good point, because a lot of times the veterinarian will prescribe something and a client, the vet will recommend to sell it either from their own veterinary hospital or maybe to send someone to a pharmacy. But I've never heard a veterinarian recommend going on pet meds or anything like that. I mean, I'm not comfortable like I am with VetCentric. So the beauty of that, too, is that you have veterinarians recommending something that they feel comfortable with right away, as opposed to something that they feel a little threatened by, I think, when clients or animal owners ask them to go to something like pet meds, because the veterinarian feels kind of bad, like, well, I don't really trust that resource, and vets don't often have many choices. So I think it's, again, just a very, very smart resource that VetCentric has created for the veterinarian and for the pet owner.
Right, and by working with the vet, we actually are able to offer a certain level of convenience that really makes it easier for folks to use. An example is once a veterinarian is part of our system, they actually go into their client base and they input into what we call a medicine cabinet the various items that they prescribe for pets, for each specific pet. They may have different recommendations for, say, flea and tick control or heartworm control or pain control or whatever it is, but those sit in that medicine cabinet. You then, as the pet owner, can just log on, go to the vet that you use, and you'll be able to view your medicine cabinet and select those items that you want in the quantities that you want. You can get 3-month supplies of certain things, say a flea and tick product. You can get it for 3 months or 6 months or whatever, or you could sign up for our easy auto refill options, which allow you to get what you need now and for us to refill it under the restrictions of your prescription for as long as that prescription is valid. And that convenience, again, really helps you, the pet owner, keep your pets on the right medication in the right time frame. And that, at the end of the day, is really what the vets are looking for. They're looking to make sure that your pets are getting the best medicine possible.
I love that auto refill. I think it's crazy that human pharmacies have not caught on to that, because certainly it does increase compliance or likelihood that someone's going to give the medication if the refill comes automatically in the mail. I mean, it, to me, is a no-brainer. I love that feature of this, and it helps me so much because I know I'm the one who always forgets to reorder something, and then my pet will go 2 or 3 days without it because I waited too long to order. So I love that auto refill, and I wish that my pharmacy would do that for me, and they don't. They thought it was crazy, actually, when I asked them. They thought, auto refill, are you kidding me? How much you want to bet that's the next thing that comes up, right?
That's right. Well, and auto refill, individual pet owners can always contact us and let us know that they don't want to get that. It's not like they're going to get charged month after month after month for something. We're working with pet owners to make sure that they're getting those right meds at the right time. And one of the other things that's important about VetCentric is that unlike a lot of other pharmacies, you can order from us either online, you can do it over the phone, or you can do it by fax. And again, we work with you, the pet owner, as well as with your veterinarian to make sure that it's the right script and the right quantity. Everything is held up to the highest standards of the pharmacology boards, and that goes to support the quality process that Betsy was mentioning just a few minutes ago.
It really is great. Well, we have to take a break here, but when we come back, we'll continue learning about the great benefits of using VetCentric Pharmacy with Ted Root, President and CEO, and Dr. Elizabeth DeLumba, the Executive Director of Professional Services.
Please have a seat in the waiting room. The doctor will be with you shortly, right after these messages.
Give your dog some thought with Dog Thoughts. It's the iPhone application that everyone's talking about.
Hey, what do you think of this? A man in Davis, California says he's invented an application for the iPhone that claims it can read your dog's mind. Huh? No, it's true. I read about it on my cat's Twitter page. That's why
Jay Leno talked about it, CBS reported on it, and now you can see what all the buzz is about. Created just for dog lovers, Dog Thoughts makes taking photos of your furry best friend more fun. Shake your dog and read his mind. On your iPhone, of course. Take a pic of your pup, shake your phone, and watch as his thoughts appear on the screen. Does he have a bone to pick with you, or is he having a tail-wagging day? Get your Dog Thoughts iPhone app today. Just 99 cents. Go to PetLifeRadioPromotions.com. That's PetLifeRadioPromotions.com.
Greetings, humans. What planet am I on?
Welcome to Pet Planet. Here's a copy of Pet Planet Magazine, Florida's most informative and fun pet resource magazine. It features heartwarming stories and informative articles from local and national pet experts.
Excellent.
Pet Planet Magazine offers Operation Planet Rescue, helping rescued pets find new homes. And it's available at 500 locations in South and Central Florida and 24/7 on the internet at petplanetmagazine.com. If you're out and about with your pet, you may be featured in Paparazzi, candid pictures of you and your pet. For up-to-date pet-friendly events, activities, and pet-related services and products, Pet Planet Magazine is your final destination.
I shall take this magazine home with me.
Back to your home planet?
No, to my condo in Boca.
Pet Planet Magazine. Check them out at www.petplanetmagazine.com or 352-394-8578. It's out of this world.
Coast to coast and around the world, it's Oh Behave with Arden Moore. Find out why cats and dogs do the things they do and get the latest buzz from wagging tongues and tails in Rin Tin Tinseltown. From famous pet experts and best-selling authors to television and movie stars, you'll get great tail-wagging pet tips and have a fur-flying fun time. Oh Behave with America's pet edutainer, Arden Moore. Every week on demand. This is the place for a special paparazzi treat. Only on PetLifeRadio.com. Let's Talk Pets on PetLifeRadio.com. Welcome back to the Pet Doctor on Pet Life Radio with Dr. Bernadine Cruz. The doctor is in, and we'll see you now.
We're back, and we're glad you waited because we have Mr. Ted Root and Dr. Elizabeth DeLamba from VetCentric Pharmacy here telling us about this wonderful online pet pharmacy that not only has medications you need conveniently delivered to your home, it also has veterinary diets and other veterinary essentials. And VetCentric is special because it works with you and your veterinarian very closely, actually. A lot of communication between the two of you and your veterinarian for the most trusted pharmacy items at affordable costs. And they're sent right to your door. So that's something sort of compared to pet meds or something else you may have heard of, but this is so much better because of the quality control and because it works with your veterinarian. Your vet wants you to use this and approves it. And I think that is so very important. One of the things I think that's so great about VetCentric, too, is the type of products and medications that you guys have. I mean, sometimes it's very hard to get prescriptions for animals because of their size and because the drugs are usually human drugs and they're made for 120-pound people, and we sometimes have 4-pound dogs. So one of the beauties, I think, of VetCentric is this great advantage of them making or compounding medications to smaller sizes. Dr. DeLamba, can you tell us about that?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think that you hit on a key point, and that we're dealing with multiple different species. As a veterinarian, you deal with multiple different species, and my patients ranged anywhere from 1 or 2 pounds to almost 200 pounds, and sometimes it's just not easy to get the right dose into the right animal at the right time. And that's one thing that when the veterinarians are working with VetCentric, they get a complete product selection. So it's not just diets and the tablets and the capsules and topical medications, but we also offer them compounded medications. Now, some of your listeners may not be familiar with compounded medications, but basically, compounding is when we alter the form of an existing medication to make sure that the dosing is correct or to make it easier for the pet owner to administer the medication. So it's really important to pet owners for a couple of different reasons. One, it makes it easier to medicate the pet. You're not trying to take a tablet and make it into an ACE to get the correct dose if you've got a little chihuahua. The other thing that's really nice is if you get it made up into a liquid, then you can add a flavoring to it. And that's probably one of the things that people do the most often. They make it up into a liquid and they add beef or chicken or liver. Now, these aren't flavors that you'd find at your local pharmacy because they're usually flavoring them for children. We have special flavors that we use just for pets.
Yeah, I don't think my daughter would choose liver flavored.
No, but your cat would. So compounding is something that is really taking off, and we're certainly happy to be able to provide that as home delivery to pet owners. But it's also really important to the veterinarians because we're trying to make sure that we have the best medication in the best dose possible to make sure that your pet gets well and to make sure that our instructions are followed, because it doesn't matter how good we are at explaining our instructions to the pet owner. If the pet owner can't get the medication into the pet, then it's not going to help with the treatment. And so we all want to make sure that they can get their treatment so that they can move forward. And VetCentric is the only home delivery service right now that's working with veterinarians that also provides these compounding services.
And I think it's really, really, I mean, you know, talking to you now, I sort of take for granted how easy it is to get those exact dosages that we want without having to break up capsules and wasting sometimes 2 or 3 tablets to get the right size because you're not sure that you actually cut it into fourths equally. And then you're afraid to give it because, yeah, you know what I'm talking about.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
But there are some medications that taste really lousy for cats, for instance, and VetCentric can put that into a capsule for us. And so we know that the owner is going to give the right amount in a capsule, and nobody has to worry about breaking up and cats salivating and getting bitten and having all those difficulties. And that's huge. And I think another really important thing that I'd love to hear you talk to us about is topical medication. I think in general, the general public doesn't realize that some medications can be given topically, and I would bet that VetCentric's the only place where they could get that mailed to them.
There are other pharmacies that also do topical medications. Most of the time, we're dealing with what we call transdermal medications, where a medication is put into a special base gel and this is especially used for kitty cats, where the medication is just put in a very small amount of gel, and then the gel is applied to the inner surface of the ear. And the medication is actually absorbed transdermally or across the skin and gets into the blood system that way. So there are a couple of
cool.
Yeah, there are some. It does. It does for certain medications. I mean, it's a relatively new modality. It's probably been around for 10 years or so there's not as much research behind it as we would like to have. But certain medications are used very frequently, and people have had good anecdotal success with them. And so we do actually a lot of transdermal gels. We also have a formulation right now, which we call the quick dose, in which the gel medication is put into a pen-type device. And so you just have to twist the bottom of the pen and then take the tip of the pen and rub that on the inner surface of a cat's ear to apply the medication. So it's no muss, no fuss, and the dosing is really simple.
Oh, that is very cool. I know, like, a lot of people have problems with their relationships with their animals when they start having to give them pills. So what a great alternative when your cat is furiously, not allowing you to medicate it. If you could just sit with it in your lap and pet it and put something inside its ear, it wouldn't even know.
Anything that we can do to support the special bond that the pet owner has with their pet, we're all for that,
Well, if people walk away with nothing else, they should at least listen and understand that there are so many alternatives to even giving medications to your pets today, as far as, making something that doesn't taste good into a capsule, or maybe even combining some things, or having things compounded into the right size, or even into a topical medication. And all of that can be done by using VetCentric. That's so great.
Yeah, I mean, just awareness. I think that the more people that know about that this is even available to them, the better off the entire community is going to be.
Right. One of the other advantages to me to using VetCentric is that I do carry a few medications with me on my RV, but I don't carry very much because it's just not practical. And since I'm running a non-for-profit, I really can't afford to keep large quantities or any quantities of certain medications. So I know VetCentric has a pretty wide variety of medications that can be used in that instance.
Absolutely, and I think that that's true I think it's especially true when you have a mobile-type practice, because you can't carry a lot. Obviously, you can probably carry a little bit more in an RV than some people would be able to just carry in their car. But even practices, I think that when you think about the human paradigm for pharmacies, there's a pharmacy on almost every corner, human pharmacy in almost every corner, and each veterinarian is trying to keep what they can in their hospital, but what they have on the shelf may not be the best medication to be able to treat your particular pet. And if by using VetCentric, they expand the offering that they have. So instead of just going to the shelf and opening the cabinet and saying, well, what can I treat Fluffy with that I have here? You can go ahead and say, well, the best medication for Fluffy is this medication. I don't have that on my shelf, but I can prescribe that to VetCentric. You can have this within a day or two, or we can do expedited delivery and have it to you the next day, and she will get exactly the right medication at the right time. So with pets that may have a little bit more unusual disease processes, or pets that they're a little more sick than someone else and they have something where it's a specialty medication, that's something that every veterinarian in the country now would have access to through VetCentric. They don't have to just prescribe what happens to be on their shelf.
it's such an advantage to me, and I know that, the veterinarians have so many choices for medications, and when you can really pick the right one, you have a very great feeling that you're doing the very best for your patient, and you're not doing it because you're limited to what's on your shelf there. I think that's a great service that VetCentric provides also.
One of the other things that in order to be able to bring all these different products to people, we have formed relationships with most of the major manufacturers. And another advantage to using a home delivery type service is if those manufacturers are offering any kind of a rebate, that we can go ahead and put that in the envelope for you. The other thing is when a new product comes out, when one of the major manufacturers introduces a new product, you don't have to wait for the veterinarian to get it on their shelf. They'll have immediate access to it as soon as it's on our shelf. So they don't even have to wait if they want to try the latest and greatest treatment that's available.
That's so awesome. And I know VetCentric communicates with me a lot, so sometimes I find out about what's new through VetCentric's emails to me as a veterinarian, which is extremely helpful too. Let me ask you something. I know a lot of times people are sort of afraid to ask their veterinarian to join something like VetCentric. Do you find that the vets are amenable to that, or they don't really mind being asked to join VetCentric? If a client is listening and they're afraid to ask their veterinarian to join?
I can only speak to that from a personal standpoint, is that when one of my clients would come to me and say, this is important to me, this is something that I'm interested in, I don't think there's anything more important to me as a veterinarian than making sure that my patients are well treated. So if a customer or client would come to me and say, I'm interested in something like this, I would certainly look it over and make sure that it's a legitimate business, make sure that, it's not something that's fly-by-night, but absolutely want to make sure that I listen to my customers and go along with things. I mean, I don't think there's anyone better out there no one cares for your pet more than you do, and the only person who is as intimately involved with your pet as you are is your veterinarian. So if this is something that you're interested in, a conversation is the first place to start, and I've never heard a veterinarian that just said, you don't know what you're talking about, you need to get out of here.
They'll be so happy that you introduced them to this that they'll be, maybe you'll even get a discount out of it. Who knows? Now, I bet some people listening are wondering, well, why would I use VetCentric instead of, one of these other online pharmacies? I bet you VetCentric costs more. Well, is that the case, or how do the prices compare? Because I think a lot of people use the online pharmacies because they believe it's less expensive.
Right, and in some cases, items that you get from an online pharmacy can be less expensive. But over the course of everything that's offered, you wind up paying sometimes less for one thing and more for something else. So they may give you something here and then they get you something there. Our pricing, again, is set in conjunction with the veterinarians. And one of the things that's important, that we feel is important, is that many of the other online pet pharmacies are they're cutting the veterinarian out of the loop. It doesn't mean that they're going to offer a better price or not, but they are not working in conjunction with a vet, and they have a completely different kind of business model. For us, we do everything we can to get the items to you at the best cost possible, and making sure that the veterinarian is also comfortable with that pricing scheme. So again, we're working with your vet. Your vet is setting the price. Sometimes the pricing is going to be better, and sometimes it's going to be competitive, and sometimes it's going to be more than what you might find online. But most people that use VetCentric, and as a matter of fact, most people that use the internet buy online and buy through mail order items for reasons of convenience. And we do everything possible to maintain our pricing at the lowest possible levels. But it's that convenience, and again, it's our systems that drive that compliance that we talked about earlier, to make sure that your pet is getting the right medication at the right time, and that we're getting the information back to your veterinarian so that they know what it is that's being consumed and when it's being consumed,
right,
so that they can stay abreast of what the current state of the treatment is for your pet. And those are value-added services that are not part of what you might get at the greatest discount online. So in
one
all
of the things
instances,
I'd like to drive home to everybody too is that when I use VetCentric, I think of it as my pharmacy. Like if I had a hospital, it would be my pharmacy. So it's actually not like somebody's using an online pet meds pharmacy and ordering things on their own. They're actually getting prescriptions from me, but through this third party that just is my way of getting it to you.
And that's exactly how we view ourselves. We definitely view ourselves as an extension of the veterinary hospital.
Yeah, I think that's really something important for people to understand and why it's important to have your veterinarian involved, and I think we've made that pretty clear today. Well, before we have to leave, I want to make sure we talk about the fact that we're in the middle of this preventative season and why these preventative medications are really important and what diseases they prevent. And I know one of my favorite things about VetCentric was that they would send heartworm medication every month for each dog, so I would just go to the mailbox, I'd say, oh, it's heartworm time, and I just open the heartworm medication and give it to my dog right then and there. So I never forget. So that's I just love that feature that you guys have. Can you tell us about that?
Sure. We stock a full range of preventive medications, including heartworm medications. What you're referring to is our CPAC program, in which case you get a single dose. Right, you get a single dose of HeartGuard Plus that's delivered once a month, and basically it's a prescription subscription. So you would sign up for 6 months or a whole year, and then every month we would go ahead and send that out to you, so you don't have to think about marking the calendar. We also have some other reminders that are also in place. So if you order a 6-pack of a preventive medication, for example, if your pet is on Interceptor or Sentinel, and you sign up for what we call usage reminders, we'll go ahead and we'll send the medication out to you, and then every month we'll send you an email, and the email will say it's time to give Spike his heartworm preventative, so that when you get home that afternoon, you know it's time to pop that pill out and go ahead and give it to your pet. The other nice thing that we do, just because the key to preventive medications is to make sure that they're administered not only regularly, but they're refilled for the entire preventive season. So if you get a 6-pack of a heartworm preventive, and then at the end of that 6 months, we'll either send you a reminder and say, hey, you're due for another packet of this medication because we know you should be out, or we can go ahead and set you up on the auto refill so that in 6 months it just is automatically delivered to your door so your pet never misses a dose.
That's great, and that saves you money in the long run because if you're on it all year round, then you don't have to worry about necessarily heartworm testing every year, which is great too. It's savings for you.
Absolutely, and the same for the flea and tick medications, which, in the Northeast especially, Lyme disease is such a problem. We want to make sure that all pets are protected for ticks, and fleas cause, anemia and allergies and are just, not nice things to have in your household. So the same thing would apply for the flea and tick medications. Is we'll go ahead and set you up for the monthly reminder when it's time to apply your flea and tick medication, and then either set it up on auto refill or remind you that you're out of your last dose and you need to reorder your package as well. So all of those things, they contribute to overall compliance, which is going to be better for your pet because they're getting their medications on a regular basis. But it also does cut down on, like you said, it cuts down on some blood tests. Your pet is less likely to be sick, less likely to be itchy, and nobody likes an itchy dog.
It's true. That's what keeps us up at night. There's a great podcast on that, too, if you go back and check it out. But it's true, and, all over the country, I think people sort of don't think the fact that cats need heartworm protection, too, and I'm in the Northeast, but I have seen cats with heartworm disease, and I think that it's something that we sort of blow off and think, oh, our cats aren't going to get heartworm, but it's pretty devastating when they do. So, it's good for everyone to know, just while we're talking about this, that it is important to medicate cats to prevent heartworm and other parasites too.
Yeah, I could not agree with you more. I think that in general, heartworm disease in cats is less readily recognized. I think most of the general public understands that dogs get heartworm, but they don't understand that cats do as well. I think it's because it's a little bit more difficult to test them for it. As additionally, that preventive, you absolutely have to have your cat, even if they're not an outside cat, on preventive medications for heartworm. Because the cost of preventing is so much less than the cost of diagnosing and treating that disease.
Oh, yeah, and it's so devastating to have to treat them. It really is.
It is.
So there's clearly so many advantages of using VetCentric, and I want to tell everyone again, it's VetCentric.com. So you can check it out. It's not an infomercial, even though this show sort of sounds like one, but there is nothing else like it. I mean, we could go and interview 3 or 4 different pet pharmacies that are like VetCentric, but we really can't because there is nothing else like it, which is why I thought it was so important to bring this to you, our listeners, to learn about it and to help educate your veterinarians about it and take advantage of this great service that offers you trust, security, and a relationship with your veterinarian and this pet pharmacy, which keeps you in contact with your vet and makes sure that we're giving medications the way we're supposed to, and that's critical. And that's why I've used it for many, many years for my clients. And I just think it's been a brilliant concept since its inception. And I'm surprised no one else has tried to do it, but I'm happy because I don't think they could do it the way you guys have really put this together. And I'm so pleased to introduce everybody to it.
Well, thank you so much, Diane. It's been a pleasure working with you with all these years, I can tell you that.
and Diane, thanks for the opportunity for us to spend a few minutes with your listeners and tell them a little bit more about what we do and how we work with their vets to make sure that their pets are getting the absolute best treatment that they can.
No, you really do, and your sales team and your marketing team, they really do go above and beyond and make it very easy for me as a veterinarian to use the service, and I'm delighted that it works out so well. Mr. Root and Dr. DeLumba, thank you so much for being with us, and Mark Winter, our producer, ever patient and ever talented, thank you so much. If you have any additional questions about VetCentric, you can go to www.vetcentric.com. That's VetCentric.com. Or if you'd like to talk to us about some show ideas or transcripts of this show or any other show, or want to shoot me an email, just go to PetLifeRadio.com and click on the Pet Doctor. I'm Dr. Diane Levitan, and I want to thank you so much for listening, and I hope you hear me again soon.
Pets can be a wonderful addition to your life. Keeping them healthy and happy is important. Pet Life Radio presents The Pet Doctor. Whether you have a dog, cat, reptile, or rabbit, you'll find answers for your pets straight from the vets. The Pet Doctor, on demand every week, only on PetLifeRadio.com.